Yeah.
I would like to jump in. Julie, I don't want to speak for you, but you did miss earlier. Dawn asked if anyone has pain, chronic pain.
No pain, period.
Or pain, but not just like you just went to the gym.
Right. Like, you know, your shoulder hurts, your knee hurts, anything like that.
Oh, thank you for asking. It would be not chronic, but at times very severe. So like it's either nothing or everything.
Is anything hurting now?
I'm actually okay now. But
It's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay, the pain work I do is best when it's something you're actually experiencing. Okay, and nobody else. Okay, oh, I don't get to show off. Okay, well, yeah. Jane, I'm reluctant to work on your pain in the back of your knees.
That's fine.
Because it's really useful. It's telling you something. Okay, so let's just anybody here have any experience with hypnosis? Tell me about it, Jane.
I had some past life regressions. Yeah. And and just I had an eating disorder, so I did some work with that too.
Okay, yeah. Okay, how was that?
Past life was incredible.
Uh-huh.
The eating disorder, it didn't help much. It was, yeah, it just didn't, it didn't work at that time.
Okay. Okay. Is that still a problem?
No.
Okay. So let's talk about hypnosis. So hypnosis is an altered state. We usually think of it as a trance state. And we go in and out of trance all the time without noticing it or thinking about it. So, for instance, do any of you read regularly, or any of you read much? Nobody? Oh, okay. So, Jane, have you ever had the experience of, you know, you're really into a book and somebody comes up and speaks to you and at first you don't even notice them? Has that ever happened?
No, I don't think so.
Or maybe you're startled?
No.
Anybody have that experience?
Yes, I have.
And Tim is nodding. So you're experiencing the descriptions in the book. If it's especially if it's fiction, you're involved with the plot, you're involved with the characters. You might even be emotionally involved. And you're in your own little bubble of the book, right? You're shutting everything else out. That's a bona fide trance. We even use the word. We talk about an entrancing novel or a hypnotic story. Or say you're driving along and you know your mind is going, you're thinking about stuff. Or maybe something in particular. And all of a sudden you realize you've gone several miles and you don't know how you got there. Yeah, I see nods. Yeah. So some part of you is driving, Jane. It's not the conscious part, but whatever it is, it knows how to drive. Right? You're not running into things, you're watching the other traffic, you're watching your speed. Except you might have missed an exit or a turn. But other than that, you're driving just fine. But whatever that is, it's not the conscious part of you. Or say you're watching a movie. So to enjoy this movie, there's two things you have to do. You have to focus on the movie, and you have to go around that part of your mind that's always wanting to pick things apart. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't do that, you really can't enjoy the movie. I mean, think about it. These are actors. They're saying lines that they've learned. They're in costumes. They're in makeup. They're on a set. There's a director for this movie. Somebody directed it. There's a lighting crew. There's a sound crew. Somebody wrote it, a screenwriter. And maybe there were rewrites and people fought over it. But you put all that out of your mind so you can enjoy the movie. And in doing that, you put yourself into a very suggestible state. So if they want you to jump, you jump. If they want you to feel sad, you might want to cry. Why? You're an adult, you're intelligent. You know it's not real, but you do it on purpose, really, so you can enjoy the movie. At the same time, no matter how much you're into the movie, you're always aware on some level that you're sitting there in an altered hypnotic state. And if there's, no matter how much you're into the movie, you're always aware on some level that you're watching a movie. They start shooting in the movie, do you hit the floor? Do you duck under your chair? Do you? No? If a dinosaur comes on screen, hi Julie, do you run out of the theater screaming, believing you're about to get eaten? Probably not. Some people scream. So you're always aware on some level that you're sitting there watching a movie, no matter how much you're into the movie. And likewise in hypnosis, in a deeper state of trance, you're always aware on some level that you're sitting there in an altered hypnotic state. And if there's ever anything that doesn't suit you for any reason, either you'll just ignore it or you'll come out of hypnosis completely. Even the language we use, we say, I hypnotize you. But actually, I don't do anything to you. You're doing it. I guide you, I instruct you, I help you to access that altered state. It's part of your mental equipment. But you're the one doing it. I'm just the guide. So, Adonis, are you in your, so somebody was in a car.
I'm not.
You're not?
Thank you.
Okay. I wish I could see.
She dropped off, Dawn.
Oh, okay. Julie, I wish I could see you. It would be better that way.
That was Cindy Woods that was in her car. She'll be back in a few minutes, she said.
Okay, okay. So I want to show you something. Are you in a place where you can stand up for a moment? Yes? Okay. Stand up, please. I'll do this first. Okay. I'll do this first. I'm going to put my arm out. I'm going to keep my arm straight in front of me. And I'm just going to twist my body. I'm not going to bend my arm at the shoulder. And I want you to twist around as far as you can go, watching your hand. Notice where you're pointing, and then come back. Okay, so now sit down, please. Okay, close your eyes. I want you to imagine what you just did. Except this is your imagination. Jen, I'll let you, yeah, you get comfortable? Okay. Just imagine what you just did, except this is your imagination. So twist further. Just go further. And then when you're ready, twist back and open your eyes. Okay, again, close your eyes. This time go a lot further. Go 100, 120 degrees further. And notice what this feels like. And now twist all the way back and open your eyes. Okay, one more time. Close your eyes. This time go all the way around. 360 degrees. Like you're a cartoon character, like you're made of rubber. And when you're ready, twist all the way back and open your eyes. Okay, now stand up again, please, right where you were. Put your arm out. Twist around as far as you can go. Oh my. Good, now have a seat, sit back down. Julie and Adonis, I can't see you, but Tim, it looked like you went a lot further. And Jane? Yeah. So, yeah, you can stop. So the question is, how did you do that? Julie, you can take yourself off mute unless it's noisy there. How did you do that? How were you able to go further? Anybody? Tim? How were you able to go further?
Part of it's, I think, it's you end up in that altered state and there's less resistance.
Oh, you're ahead of me. Yes. Yes. You could say you told your body you could do it and your body believed you. So this is called, hey Joe. And if you put yourself on camera, that would be nice, but you don't have to. This is called visualization. I'm sure you're aware. Athletes do this. I don't know if any of you have ever trained this way, but athletes do this. So you could imagine yourself on a basketball court. You're standing on the free throw line, imaginary ball in your hand, and in your mind, you shoot it up, perfect motion, the ball goes up, swish, right through the basket. You can even hear it. Say you do that in your mind, say 10 times in a row, or 20, or maybe 50. And now you get out there on a real court with a real ball, and you start shooting it up. And it's going to go in more. And if somebody was scanning your brain while you're shooting the basketball, or just now when you were twisting, they would see the same areas light up when you imagine it as when you're actually doing it. In some sense, the brain doesn't know the difference, and maybe that's why it works. Tiger Woods has been doing this kind of visualization since he was a child, since he was 10 or 11. Any of you remember Greg Louganis? Any of you? The Olympic diver?
I know him.
Yeah, you know him or you remember him?
No, I remember him, but also I was just going to say that it is a little noisy here for me, but I couldn't do this, what you just did right now, because I had surgery on my back, but
Oh yeah, sure.
I've done this for performing Shakespeare. Or performing. So
You visualized.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actors do it a lot. Yeah. I heard Greg Louganis, he was an Olympic diver over 20 years ago. And I heard him once on TV saying that when he starts working on a new dive, he'll do it in his mind 500 times before he
Wow.
ever steps out on the diving board. Dancers do this. Gymnasts, if they show it, you can watch them before their event. They're sitting there like this. They're going through the whole routine in their mind. I worked one time with a figure skater. He was a young man. They had these amateur competitions in the area, and he would go around and compete. He and I would go out to the rink together, and I would have him sit and visualize what he's about to do. And then he'd go out on the ice and skate it. Go out on the ice and sit down, visualize, then go out on the ice and skate it. We would alternate the mental and the physical practice. And that worked really well. He improved quite a bit. What you just did with the twisting, Tim, you were right, is a form of self-hypnosis. You hypnotized yourself to twist further. Congratulations. Some people hypnotize themselves in the negative. They'll say to themselves, I screwed that up. I can't do this. This isn't going to work. That's very effective. So don't do that. Instead, what you want to do is, if you catch yourself talking to yourself that way, flip it. Make a positive statement that expresses your intention, what you want. So with a lot of people, when they say to themselves, I really screwed that up, the intention is self-correction. So instead, say that. Say to yourself, I can do better. This time I'll do better. This might work. This will work. I can do this. In your self-talk, express your intentions, what you want, rather than what you don't want. When I play tennis, sometimes I catch myself. I'm about to say, darn it, that's the third time you hit that ball into the net. But instead I'll say to myself, this time, hit it over the net. That works better. Okay, I'll make one last appeal. If any of you want to come on camera that are not, that would be nice. But I'm not going to say it again. Okay, I'm going to show you a blend of self-hypnosis and meditation. And you'll be able to do this. In fact, with my clients, it's an assignment. There's homework. So everybody get comfortable and close your eyes and kind of defocus your mind. So you're not thinking about anything in particular. I know a lot of meditation paradigms want you to quiet your mind, but they don't usually tell you how to do that. So I'm not going to say that. Just defocus your mind so you're not thinking about anything in particular. And take yourself inside and occupy all the space inside your body. Every place, every part, from the top of your head all the way down to your toes, all the way down to your fingertips. Even parts of you that you don't think about very often, like the back of your head, your right shoulder, occupy both of those places at the same time. Your left elbow. The second finger on your right hand. 4 places. See if you can occupy them all simultaneously. Just do the best you can. And add to that your right hip, your left calf, and the instep on your left foot. And now get a sense of occupying all the space inside your body, all at the same time. Some people get a sense of a beautiful light shining inside. It shines into every part of you. However you do it, get that sense of occupying all the space inside your body. And holding on to that, get a feeling of expansion. Like you're a bubble, expanding out into the universe in all directions. And now double that feeling. Intensify it, spread it even to other areas, and double it again. Let it fill you. And start saying to yourself in your mind over and over, I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit, over and over. And I know this may or may not be your current reality, but if it's not, think of it as a direction. Think of this as where you're going. I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit, over and over. That's right. Happy, peaceful, playful. I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. And you might notice that your breathing has become slower and deeper and more regular. And your heartbeat perhaps has slowed down just a little. And you can control this state. So now take yourself deeper. Just allow it, let it happen. Drifting, floating, deeper, way deeper. Whenever you hear me say the word deeper in this context, or when you say it to yourself, deeper, you can feel yourself drifting deeper and deeper into this lovely state of trance. Say it to yourself a few times, deeper. And notice as you go deeper, how good this feels. Feel the contentment. Feel the pleasure and the comfort throughout your mind and your body. I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit, over and over. Now, lighten your state just a little bit. Bring yourself up so you're not quite so deep. And let your eyes open, if you can. Now close your eyes. And once again, take yourself deeper. Go deeper than you were before. You can go just as deep as you like. Drifting, floating, deeper, way deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The deeper the contentment, the deeper the pleasure and the comfort throughout your mind and your body. And the better you feel, the deeper you can go. I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. Keep that up in your mind while you listen to the sound of my voice. I do this first thing in the morning when I'm waking up. And at night when I'm about to go to sleep. Or if I should wake up during the night. And any time during the day when I need a mental vacation, or I'm about to start a new task or activity. I set my mental timer for 2 or 3 minutes. I get comfortable, close my eyes, defocus my mind, and I take myself inside and I occupy all the space inside my body. And holding on to that, I get a sense of expansion. Like I'm a beautiful ball of energy shining way out into space, far beyond the limits of my physical body. Now double that feeling, going deeper. And double it again, going even deeper. So that every molecule, every cell is dancing in harmony. And start saying to yourself in your mind over and over, I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. And keep that up in your mind for the amount of time that you set for yourself. And when that time is up and you're ready to come back, shout to yourself in your mind, I deserve to be happy, healthy, and successful. And then whenever you're ready, bring yourself back, all the way back to everyday time, space, and awareness, back to the room you're in. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Good. Anybody want to share what that experience was like for you? And just come on mute and talk.
It's
Anybody?
definitely very relaxing and peaceful.
Uh-huh. Good. Anything else? Thanks.
Oh, I just realized it's I do meditate a lot, and I think I've been doing that without realizing it. I've taken a little bit of hypnotherapy years ago, but I didn't realize I was kind of doing that when I get to a certain point in meditation. So that was interesting. And it felt great.
Good, good, good. Yeah, really, I would consider meditation a form of self-hypnosis, at least most meditation, and for that matter, prayer as well. It's you're taking yourself into an altered state. Anybody else? Hey, Ian.
Hi, I was just going to say, in addition to feeling more expansive, for a moment, I dashed off to think about the double induction that you used. Could you mention something about that, please?
Yeah, I did it twice. Well, I just think it helps people experience maybe a deeper level. So nothing magic about it, but I think it does. And I'm glad you noticed that. Sometimes people are just too deep to notice that at all.
Well, I've encountered it before with another person that used hypnosis.
Uh-huh.
And, I think it makes a difference. I really do.
Yeah, it's an induction within an induction.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's great that you noticed that. Anybody else? Jane, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that, but I also, when I get like that, I feel like I'm floating. I'm just without a body and floating.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And by the way, in the chat, there's a link to handouts. So this is one of those. It's 3 basics. So you can download these, you can print them out. So I call this the zone. And my suggestion is to do it 3 or more times a day, 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes at a time, except when you're going to sleep, don't set a time limit. Just take yourself into the zone with the intention of staying there. And of course, you will pass into sleep, but it's a really nice way to take yourself into sleep. So the directions are here, the steps are here. And as a couple of you noticed, we did this twice. The mantra is here. And like I say, for some people I work with, this is not their current reality. I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. And that's why I said, if it's not, think of it as a direction. Think of this as where you're going. I don't want to be pretending. Playful spirit is really important. We deal in our lives with all kinds of heavy things sometimes. Even then, it's really important to maintain a certain lightness, a playful spirit, because otherwise you just get bogged down in seriosity. You can vary the mantra. If you're going to sleep, you can say, I sleep with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit, or I dream with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. I had this client once, he said, if I do this first thing in the morning, would I just go back to sleep? So I said, okay, in the morning, say, I wake with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. This is when I work with people who want to stop smoking, I have them say this, I live smoke-free with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit. At the bottom of the handout are 3 links. This is on YouTube. It's pretty much what we just did, except it's a much younger me. This is the same thing, except it's an audio. It used to be on, what was it on before? Anyway, it's on Spotify now. I have a Hypnosis Silver Spring channel on both YouTube and Spotify. And this is a shorter version, which is probably more like what you'll actually use when you do it. Okay. Questions, comments?
I have a question. If you put
Yeah,
yourself
sure.
you put yourself into self-hypnosis and don't necessarily have a mechanism for coming out, I guess you would come out some point naturally, or is it important to have an end?
So there's a couple ways you can do that. One is just to, before you start, say to yourself, or tell your unconscious if you like, I'm going to do this for 3 minutes. And then most likely your internal timekeeper will, somewhere around 3 minutes, will bring you back out. Okay. Another way, if you're not, if you feel that's not reliable, set an alarm on your phone. I'm working with this guy right now. He says, whenever I do this, I go to sleep. Well, that's probably good. I mean, first of all, I think he needs sleep. I think he's sleep deprived. But I think, you know, it continues to work even if you feel you're going into a sleep state. But so you can set an alarm on your phone. Of course, at night, you want to just stay there because you're going to sleep. Julie, your hand's up. If you have something more you want to say? Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, what, I know you mentioned trance. What's the correlation with, are you able to, and I feel like I'm called to learn trance, but is trance just self-hypnosis or is it something
Well,
else?
trance
Like,
is an altered state, and that's a good question. When we do self-hypnosis or meditation, we're deliberately taking ourselves into a trance state. But people like I said when we started, are going to trance all the time without noticing it or realizing it. Like when you're really engrossed in a book, or for that matter, a task, that's an altered state. That's a trance. Some people go into take themselves into negative trances. People who, like alcoholics, that's a trance. I have a colleague who said once, he's probably said more than once, but when they come into your office, they're in trance, and your job, my job, is to find them a better trance. Does that shed light on your question?
yeah, but yes, thank you so much. But also there's something called trance. It's something where it's with mediumship. Were you referring?
I'm not really familiar with that.
Okay. It's interesting the term is the same, but it's probably similar.
But
So
it probably means the same kind of thing. It's an altered state that you go into either deliberately or otherwise. Hypnosis, we're deliberately using that state to get the kind of changes we want.
thank you.
Let's see. So as people do this regularly, just from this, they change. In positive ways, sometimes unexpected ways. So just to give you one example, I was working a few years ago with this young woman. When I say young, I mean 20. She was a student at University of Maryland, Chinese from China, 20 years old, very anxious. First of all, she's in this strange country speaking English most of the time. She was anxious about her schoolwork. She had an American boyfriend. She was anxious about him. And she said there were mice running around in the air conditioner in her dorm room, and they wouldn't do anything to fix it. So I taught her this the first session, asked her to start doing it regularly. She comes back a week later. I say to her, so how's it going? She says, well, I've been having these bouts of happiness for no apparent reason. I said, well, that sounds nice. And then she says, and the mice are gone too. Sometimes I call this practice draining the bucket. So have any of you ever had a leaky trap under your sink? It traps that U-shaped pipe. Probably most of us have. So when you have a leaky trap, what do you do until you can get it fixed or fix it? You put a pot or a bucket under it, right? Catch the water. Otherwise, it's going to be a big mess. Well, the water is going to keep dripping into that bucket, and every so often you have to drain it. Otherwise, it'll overflow. So we're always, at least most of us are always filling up with stress, tension. This is a way of draining the bucket, and it's just a reset for your nervous system. That's how I think about it. Now you can use it. Some people use self-hypnosis actually to give themselves suggestions or to make affirmations. You can do that. The problem is, at least with me, I find that when I take myself into a altered state like that, I kind of forget what I was going to do. So one way around this, there's two suggestions here. One is to write out your affirmations or your suggestions or type them out on a piece of paper. Take yourself into the zone, and then when you're in that state, open your eyes, but remain in hypnosis, remain in that altered state and read what you wrote, either aloud or just to yourself. That's one way. The other way is to record your self-suggestions or affirmations, say on your phone or on a recording device. Take yourself into the zone and then just press the button to listen to it. So in effect, you're becoming your own hypnotist. Okay. As you practice, this will get easier and faster, and you'll be able to take yourself deeper, which can be kind of fun. It's like you find a switch in your brain and you just flip that switch and you take yourself into an altered state. And really that's what we're looking for. Be able to take yourself into that state at will, whenever you want. Okay, let me show you one thing we can do with this. So once again, get comfortable. And close your eyes and defocus your mind. At this point, I just tell my clients, just take yourself into the zone. Go right back where you were a few moments ago. And nod to me when you're there. But since I can't see everyone, I'll guide you. So occupy all the space inside your body. Every place, every part simultaneously. And holding on to that feeling, get a sense of expansion. Like you're a ball of energy, expanding, shining out into space, far beyond the limits of your physical body. And now double that feeling, going deeper. And double it again, going even deeper. And start saying to yourself in your mind over and over, I live with a happy heart, a peaceful mind, and a playful spirit, over and over. You can take yourself a little deeper if you want. Now begin to imagine or visualize yourself exactly the way you want to be. In every respect, inside and outside, mentally, physically, and spiritually, now and in the future. This is your power self. This is you, exactly the way you want to be. If anything needs healing, include that. Your power self is healed. And see them at first, your power self, see him or her from a distance. Now zoom in closer and closer until you're right up next to them. So you could reach out and touch them if you wanted to. Float all around them, experiencing that person from every side, every angle. Listen to the sound of their voice as they speak. Watch her as she moves. See the light in his eyes, the expression on her face. Feel their heart, their spirit. And now, step into them, your power self. Step in and be them. Become that person from the inside out. Looking out on the world through their eyes. speaking with their voice, moving with their body, their arms, their legs, their muscles, thinking with their mind, and feeling with their heart, their spirit. And some of the issues you used to struggle with, they, that is you, have resolved. They're no longer issues for you. And get a sense of what that is like to have resolved these things. What it feels like. What it looks like. What it sounds like, even what it smells and tastes like. And what this means to you. And the possibilities that open up for you, the directions you can go in. And now be your power self in a situation that might have been difficult or uncomfortable before. But be them in that situation, handling it easily. Comfortably, confidently, gracefully. Now let that situation play out. I'll give you some time for that. If you're on camera, lift your hand and wave it at me when you're ready to continue. And now bringing back with you some of what you've learned and experienced in being them. Step back out. So again, you're viewing your power self from the outside, but having brought back with you some of what you learned and experienced in being them. And take a few moments now to integrate, to merge that with the current you. You're programming yourself in the direction of him, of her, your healed, your power self. And take all the time you need, and only when you're ready, bring yourself back and open your eyes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to continue, but if you're still processing, just stay there until you're ready. Anybody want to share about that experience? Hey, Joe. You're muted.
Thank you. I think I came back with a sense of encouragement and optimism that I didn't have before.
Wow. Anybody else? Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Okay. Yeah, for most people, this is a very positive experience, sometimes a very emotional experience. Some people cry when they do this. And I don't know if that's the contrast between their current self and their power self or what. When I do twice a month, I do a class at Hope Connections for Cancer Support. It's a wonderful organization and headquartered in Bethesda, Maryland. So I do a class called Hypnosis for Symptom Relief. And in that class, most of these are cancer patients or support people. So I do a version of this called Healed Self, where you imagine, visualize yourself completely healed. And you step into being that person for a little bit. And people have wonderful experiences doing that. And that in itself is healing. Just getting to experience, because a lot of these people have forgotten what it's like to be healthy. So this is one way of just renewing that. Are there other comments or any more share? Okay. Some of my clients get very creative with this power self exercise. I worked with this guy a few years ago named Derek, young man, bright, very creative, and he had all these projects going, which he wasn't finishing. And that's why he was working with me. So Derek named his power self. He called him Power Derek. And Derek would wake up every morning and he and Power Derek would have this little conference. And he'd say, Power Derek, what do we need to get done today? And they'd figure it out and Derek would go and do it. And he was getting advice from Power Derek. I think he was getting stock tips. I'm glad somebody laughed. I worked with this woman a few years ago named Chris around weight loss. She also named her power self. She called her Lean Christine. Whenever Chris was around food, she felt she shouldn't be eating. She would say to herself in this prissy voice, Lean Christine doesn't eat this.
I love that.
Yeah, so you're welcome to, adapt this to your own needs, to be creative with it. In the chat, I'll point out again, there's a link to, first of all, there's a link to my general website. But there's also a link to one of the pages called 3 Basics. And the handouts for the zone and for Power Self are in there. You can download them.
Mm-hmm.
There's one other, which we're not going to do today. Yeah, Joe.
A question. Because I arrived late, I apologize for that. Perhaps that's why I don't see that in the chat.
Okay, Donna, can you put them back? Can you just copy them and put them back? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The on the main page of my website, by the way, is at the top. And if you might be interested in working with me, there's a link where you can set up a 20-minute, that's 20-minute, half-hour phone or Zoom consultation. You can actually schedule that if you're interested. Yeah. By the way, I asked at the very beginning, Joe, does anybody have any pain? You have any pain right now?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay. Because I was going to show you how to work on it, but I need some actual pain to do it. Okay.
Can I offer one thing that I
Oh, sure.
found? You remind me of somebody else that did a similar type of lead-in for hypnosis, or for whatever we would call that particular exercise. And he would say, deeper, 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 a number of times. And I would envision myself going down steps into my core, because I know at my core, I am happy and peaceful, etc. So I'm descending into my deeper, real self. deeper and deeper. It made a difference to me to hear those words. So I think, yeah, I just wanted to share that's how I do it, and it seems to work well for me.
Yeah, well, that's become like a trigger for you, and that's great.
Mhm.
And that's our self trigger. You can use it yourself. Going down steps is, by the way, is a common image that's used to deepen a trance. Someone will say, imagine a staircase, and I'm going to count from, there are 10 steps. I'm going to count from 10 down to 1 or 0. And with each step, you go deeper and deeper into trance, and you count them down. That's used probably a lot. Probably, if any of you have ever done hypnosis or sometimes just meditation, you might be familiar with that. But that's great that you're doing that. Anybody else?
I just wanted, are you able to go through the steps? Because there are times I need it. I have a little bit of pain, but I don't know if it's worthy of,
Well, yeah, it's worthy. Where's your pain?
in my toe.
Okay.
I have pain
And-
when I lift my frozen shoulder. As long as I keep it down.
You have a frozen shoulder? Okay, let's address Julie's first.
Okay.
Okay. Julie, you who said frozen shoulder?
Adonis.
Okay, Adonis. Okay. Julie, so first of all, your toe,
Mhm.
did you injure it or what?
No, it's part of my disease.
Okay, so you've had it checked out.
Mhm.
Okay. Because like I said, I don't know if you were here when I said it, we don't want to mask things that really need some kind of medical attention.
Yes.
Okay, so close your, sir, can you come on camera? Would you mind doing that?
Sure.
That's good. Thanks. So close your eyes and just go inside that toe and tell me what color it is in there.
Dark.
Dark, okay. What would be a better color?
Light.
Light. What color of light?
Gold. Pink.
Okay, so just let that dark lighten. Maybe become a dark brown. We're just going to go through the spectrum. Just nod to me when you've got it a dark brown. And we're not forcing it, you're just inviting it. And lighten that brown and just lighten it and put some yellow in it. And just let it change until it's all the way gold. And just nod to us when it's gold.
It feels like it is now.
Good, so it's gold now. And I want you to spread that all around. Just spread that gold like you had a palette knife in there. Just spread it into all the tissues, the bones, the nerves, everything, even the adjacent areas. Just spread that gold, 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 and enjoy it. And just sit with that for a few moments. I don't want to go too fast. Gold, gold, gold. Just let that gold soak into that toe. And when you're ready, open your eyes and tell us how it feels.
It feels lighter. Definitely.
Good. And we only did that. How long did that take? 15, 20 seconds? Yeah. So
I like extending too. That's cool.
yeah. Extending what?
Extending.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one way to address pain. This works for, I would say, 90% of people.
Cool. Thank you.
And oh, there it is. Okay. It works for about 90%. For the rest, so let me just, so question is was this hypnosis? What do you
Are you,
think?
are you,
Anybody, but you in particular, was this hypnosis?
well, that's kind of what I sometimes do with healing stuff. So it applies. I like it. So,
Yeah, I consider it a version of hypnosis because, first of all, I said, go inside your toe and tell us what color it is. Can you really do that?
it's more metaphysical.
Right, right. So basically, we invoked your imagination. When I asked you what color it was, first of all, the pain, we have 5 sensory modalities, right? Kinesthetic, feeling, visual, auditory, sound, also smell and taste. When I asked you to go inside and tell me what color it was, you moved it from the physical, from the kinesthetic into the visual, right? And then you changed it there. And somehow that reflects back on the kinesthetic, on the feeling. If you know the word synesthesia, it's kind of like that. So yeah, I'd consider it a form of hypnosis. Now, for the 10% of people it doesn't work for, some of them, you can do it in the auditory realm. What sound does it make? And what would be our note? What would be a better note? I've used that especially with musicians sometimes. What would be a better note or chord? And they change that, and that alters the pain. So that's one way to do it, and you can do that on any part of your body. It works sometimes, if you have a little headache or something, you can just do it. I used to have this hip that was, it would be painful sometimes. The doctor said it was bursitis. And so I would change the color, and there's a breathing technique I use on it. And the pain would go away. And then it would come back, maybe next day or later. And so I would do it again. I got really good at it. I could do it with my eyes open, walking along. And it would hurt, and I'd do this, and it went away. Eventually, the pain just gave up. So it might come back or it might not. Sometimes this is permanent, and sometimes it's not. But you know how to do it now. You can do it again. Like I said at first, you don't want to use this to mask pain that could indicate something that needs medical attention or dental attention. You have a toothache, go to a dentist. I mean, you can reduce the pain meanwhile, but first make the dental appointment and then adjust it.
May I ask what the breathing technique is?
Yeah. Adonis, your shoulder is kind of frozen.
And I really don't see colors. So, I mean,
Yeah, okay. So what's frozen mean? When you say it's can you turn your volume up a little bit?
Can I turn my volume down?
That's good. Yeah. Up.
Oh, I think it's high, all the way up.
Okay. Just speak high, So when you say frozen, like, what do you mean?
Well, I've kept it down pretty much close to my side for 50 years.
I see.
Now
For how long? For 50 years?
50.
Wow.
And now I'm trying to get it to where it's more useful.
Okay, let me show you this breathing technique, and this is really useful for pain as well. And we'll just see what happens. So what I want you to imagine is that the skin and tissues around that shoulder are permeable, like thousands of tiny holes. And as you breathe in, just imagine or pretend that the air is coming directly into that shoulder, and it swirls around and takes with it anything that doesn't belong. And then you just breathe it out normally. So in the in-breath, breathe in through the shoulder, and then breathe the air out as you breathe out. So just start breathing that way. In through the shoulder. Just imagine, pretend that you can do it. Feel it. And the air you're breathing in is just the right temperature. And you can give it a nice color. If I were doing it with you, Julie, I'd make it golden. So just breathe that way, Adonis. Just breathe in through the shoulder, just the right temperature, a nice color, and then breathe it out normally. But in the meantime, just let it swirl around, take with it anything that doesn't belong. And just breathe that way. I'll just give you a few minutes to do this. I mean, a few moments. That's right. So we haven't done this very long. Normally, you want to do it for 10 or 15 minutes. But Adonis, just from what we've done now, how's the shoulder feel?
It feels much better. It goes up higher without pain. Thank you.
How about that? So just keep doing that. Keep doing this the rest of the day, or whenever you need it. So that's another that works for pain as well, and you can combine them. Julie, if there was still some discomfort, I would have you start breathing through your toe. Golden air. Yeah. Good. The breathing thing I did, the first time I did this was with my mother-in-law. And she at the time, let's see, I think she was like, the number 87 comes to mind. Now she's 98. She'd be 99 in October. But anyway, she was up visiting my wife and me from North Carolina. She was with us for a month. And one morning when we were here, I think it was a Sunday, we're going to take her to a concert. She likes music. But when we're starting to get ready to go, she said that her right foot was really painful, and the pain was going up her shin, and her foot had swelled up, and she couldn't get a shoe on. So reluctantly, we left her at home. My wife and I went to the concert. And that evening, we were waiting for dinner to cook. And I had this thought, I had this idea. I guess I'd seen it in a workshop or something before. So I said to my mother-in-law, I said, Ruby, I want you to try something. I want you to do something. Never say try. I want you to do something. She said, okay. I want you to pretend that you can breathe in directly in through your foot. Just let the air come in, swirl around, and then all the way up your leg, up to your lungs, and then just breathe it out. She says, okay. So she starts breathing this way, in through her foot, out through her mouth and nose. About 10 minutes went by, maybe a little more, and she says, I think it feels better. I say, well, great, keep doing it. Another 5-10 minutes went by. She says, I think the swelling's going down. And it did. It did. And the next morning, she was able to get a shoe on, and we went to another concert that day. And that whole month, whenever it started to hurt and swell up, she would do the breathing into, I call it, and the pain would go away. I mean, and the swelling. And now she likes me better than her daughter. It's not really true, but it's a nice story. So, and there's some other things I have, but I call them mind tricks. If you go on my Spotify channel, and I can't give you a link for it, but it's in Hypnosis Silver Spring and Spotify. There are several podcasts, they call them, on pain. And those two techniques are there, and I think a couple more. Okay, questions? Yeah, Julie?
Can you do this remotely for someone else? With permission?
Remote. Well, we are doing it remotely. Is that what you mean?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
you mean
can
like
you do it for someone else?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't say no,
Mhm.
but
I would think yes.
I
yeah,
would think yes too.
yeah. Well, let me know. Yeah, I think my email's in the chat too, by the way, if you just want to email me or
Mhm.
something, you can do that. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought of doing that, but that would be interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. And of course, if it doesn't just work through the ether, you could always talk them through it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Do you want to go a few more minutes or?
Well, I have a question.
Yeah,
What senses, it seems to me you could use several different senses as you're working on a body part or an issue. Like what color is it?
mhm,
What do you see? What does it smell like?
yeah,
And you could then move it to a really delightful scent. But
yes,
I would think using several senses would make it even more real.
yes, you're right. Someone asked me once, I was at a conference doing a presentation, and someone said, could you do it with taste? And I said, well, you probably could, especially if you were working with someone that was especially oriented towards taste, like a gourmet or a chef or something. It might work well. What's it taste like? What would be a better flavor?
Mhm.
And certainly smell. And you know, we mentioned auditory. People, just as a general principle, it's really important to adjust what I do, what, you know, if you're doing this kind of practice, to the individual, because it's always very individual. You might think with pain that red would mean pain and maybe blue would be absence of pain. It's not necessarily true. It can, I've seen it the opposite. So always ask, even with yourself, a different body part, it might be a different color. What color is it? What would be a better color? Right. What was I going to say? I had something in mind and it's gone. Anyhow, anybody else?
Dawn, you can go until 1:30.
I can go until 1:30. Well, let's see.
Could you repeat how to find you on Spotify?
I think it's Hypnosis Silver Spring. It's a channel. There's a link. Did you see the link in the chat?
Yeah, I didn't read all of it because I was
Yeah.
listening.
I think if you go there, you'll be in the right place, general place. Let's see. Oh, it's a link at the bottom of, let me see if I can put it in the chat.
It was on your
It was on the handout, but
yeah.
let's see if I can put it up directly. Oh, I already closed that out. Wait a minute. I think I can do this. There we go. Okay. So. So let's see. So here's the zone as an audio on Spotify. What happens if, let me click on this. Yeah, Hypnosis Silver Spring podcast. And this is an episode. Hypnosis Silver Spring, the words are separate. So if you go on Spotify, you ought to be able to search for Hypnosis Silver Spring podcast. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Gee, let's see. What can we do in 10 minutes?
One thing I would like to add, Dawn,
Yeah.
you mentioned to me earlier, but all of your visits are via Zoom. So
Yes.
everyone
Yes.
can meet with
Yeah.
you.
I haven't, it's been almost 2 years since I've used my office. Beautiful office, but I'm just not ready to go back to in person yet. because of COVID. Let's see, what can we do here?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, Adonis.
We've done short sessions, but could you use this for focus? Say, put yourself into a state and say, I'm going to focus for an hour, for 2 hours. Or does it work best in terms?
Focus on what for 2 hours?
Well, if you wanted, if you were a student to study, if you were going to take an exam.
Well, that's interesting. I think you could. I'm not sure. I'm working with a guy right now who has trouble focusing. And this was one thing I was going to ask him, but I haven't heard back from him. Could you take yourself into the zone and study while you're in an altered state? And I haven't heard back from him. Has anybody tried that? That's here? I'm not sure. Usually when I'm working with people around study and exams and stuff, I work around like test anxiety.
Right.
And I help, and by the way, there are two paradigms that I use. One of them is called core transformation, and the other is wholeness work. I'll type them in. Core trans. You can find these on my website, or you can look them up. They're on YouTube. Those are very powerful, and I use those a lot for all kinds of things: anxiety, depression, phobias. I've worked recently with several people who have problems, who can't drive on freeways or can't go over bridges. So I use those things. I don't know about Edgar Cayce. I mean, he obviously, it was some kind of self-hypnosis. I mean, I would say yes. Yes. There are paradigms with hypnosis. Like one is called ultra height or ultra depth, that claim to be replicating what Edgar Cayce was doing. But frankly, I don't know if anybody knows what he was doing or how he was able to do what he did. Other questions? I think the other thing that I was, Donna, the other thing that I was thinking of doing would take longer than 7 minutes or 6 minutes.
Mhm.
So I'll just entertain if there are any more questions, and if they're not, does anybody want to offer a closing prayer since Reverend Alice is not here? Okay.
I have one thing to interject.
Yeah.
With regard to preparing for studying, I haven't done this before, but I think I'm going to envision any intervening thoughts, the mind clutter, those little pieces that float around and distract you, to see those just kind of blowing off out into the distance, to be retrieved when necessary, but they're cleared out. To envision that would help me, I think.
What?
And in fog, I could envision that as gray, and envision instead a clarity, a crisp, clear. I'm going to pick yellow for the intellect, and envision things like that, and then go into studying.
Yes, I think that might be helpful. You were tempting me. I was really tempted to introduce wholeness here, but there's really not the time. So basically, I would ask you, what's that mind clutter feel like? What's it feel like?
It feels uncomfortable, like little things are kind of jabbing at me.
Yeah, so where do you feel it? Where do you feel it?
I feel it in my head.
Your whole head, or just a part of it?
I'd say in the frontal lobes.
Okay. So this is with wholeness, this is where we'd start, and we would treat it just as a physical sensation.
Oh, I like that.
And I don't have time to show you, but basically it involves inviting it to, you talk about the whole field of awareness that's all around, this vast field of awareness, which is really, awareness is really the capacity to notice or experience. And we would invite it to open, relax, dissolve, melt into all that whole field of awareness. There's more to it than that, but that basically gives you a flavor for what we would be doing with wholeness. Then, when that's done, then come back to the mind clutter, and most likely would find it's changed. But I don't have time for that. If you want to go on YouTube and see some similar things, so just look up this.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you.
Don, I have a question regarding Adonisa's question regarding focus. I immediately thought of Power Derek.
Yeah.
Would that work if you say, what do we need to accomplish? What do we need to focus on today? What do we need to focus on at this moment? Would that work?
Sure, I would think. Or it could work, I would say.
Or try it?
Yeah, yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, Adonis?
Yeah, it's my daughter. I have two young daughters I adopted late in life, and they both have attention issues. But maybe the suggestion and then come out of the hypnotic state, but let it retain that reduced anxiety and focus.
I missed some of what you're saying because your volume is really low.
I don't know why. I said I have two young daughters I adopted late in life,
This is better. Yeah.
and they have focus attention. They have attention deficit. But I can appreciate that even like Power Derek going into a hypnotic state, coming out, but being more relaxed might be helpful to. I'll see.
Yes, I find that relaxation, not just in the moment, but relaxation in your life kind of helps with everything. And a lot of times if we clear away the things that are in the way, then people are able to do what they need to do, whether it's focus or, you know, whatever it is. So the zone, for instance, doing that regularly just kind of, like I say, drains the bucket. And once you're doing that, it's easier to concentrate, it's easier to focus and do what you need to do. Okay, I think we'll end it. Thank you all for being here.
This
Oh,
has
thank
been
you, Don.
wonderful. Thank you.
And it's a real, Donna, thank you, and Reverend Alice for the opportunity to do this, and I'd love to come back sometime.
Yes, hopefully. And the recording will be posted probably in a couple weeks.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Very great.
Bye-bye.
That's it.
Till next time.